of storage buildings. I mean, you know, regrettably, we could have to say no to something like that too. But, Steve?
Yeah, the metal shipping container,
And there
it's all set up, had pre-wired inside. Yeah, had a nice kitchen area set up, bathroom set up in it. It probably went more than 16 feet long. It was like a huge shipping container. And I contacted the person that had it, they was unaware that we didn't allow shipping containers. They said you'd have it off by the weekend.
That's not the first time it's happened here.
Pardon me?
That's not the first time.
Oh,
it's
no,
happened.
no, it's on,
Instead of just temporary.
And even though he works weekends, and we're covering weekends now, things like this can just slip right by us.
There was a ton of people.
You think?
A ton.
You think? Yeah.
3, 4.
I saw they had to bring a second trailer in. Over here for crack.
I mean, I just heard that, just real quick, not to get off task too much, but I just heard that we just had a huge weekend turnout. I heard that, you know what, the church cooked for maybe 350 people Saturday morning. They handed out 500 hot dogs at the deal. The police and fire, these guys had handed out candy. These guys had worked and done very well with their fireworks stuff. And again, contributed to everything that we were doing around here. Corey, thank you very much. You and your team, and Robert and Mindy, and you know what, all the people who volunteer, we can't thank them enough. I guess that's what draws people to our community. So you can't, the church and everyone that contributed, thank you very much. And you know what, who knows what next year is going to bring. So, but thanks again. While we're on nuisance codes report, we're going to have a couple budget conversations in this meeting tonight based on our budget meeting weeks ago. One of the things that was requested for Mindy to put in the budget was a half a person for codes for next year. Well, what we contribute for just a half an employee, our cost is going to be probably in the 40 to 50 grand area for this person. What we're not accounting for is I got a city attorney that already thinks now that we should be considering a codes court, you know, to separate, you know, what all the other stuff that goes on with the code. And so that codes isn't, we don't do it on purpose, but codes seems to take longer to take care of, you know, and it takes time, and that time, you know what, affects their time scale in the courtroom. And I've been there, guys. I went and watched and witnessed the work that takes place. So if we're going to consider that half a person, we need to make sure that we are going to double that cost factor, which that could be easily just in the employees we have, an extra 10 or 12 grand a year. And my question to everyone is now, do we need that now? Because right now we're not going to be revenue neutral as it is. We could lower our rate a little bit by saving this person maybe for one more year. The other part of it is I've watched Steve, and Steve does pretty good job staying on top of them and keeping things in front of Jamie. So that, you know, it's not my choice, it's the council's choice. You guys had that conversation, but I want to remind you there's more to that cost than just a half an employee.
I thought we had an appeals board. You know, the mayor appointed 3 people to that board. That had something to do with the maintenance code. That was in there, and we were required to have an appeals board.
I don't know what happened to that board. We haven't used it. Have you used that board for anything? I don't think we've used them since Don was here. And I'm not sure that I wasn't the mayor then, so I don't even know who was part of that board, you know. And although I have a great deal of respect for the boards and committees and stuff that we want to hire, I want to let everybody know that, you know what, the responsibility isn't going to be on that board. The responsibility isn't going to be on that committee. You know what, the responsibility is on us as we're trying to put a budget together now. And we're getting ready to have another conversation. We're trying to access the funds for another city hall. You know, so the value maintains to be within what you guys see and because there was apparently some thought that went into it before. I think it was you, John, that recommended it, that before, you know what, you had brought it up. You apparently see that we need more work done and with that, that's just my responsibility, guys. My responsibility to remind everybody sometimes the cost is more than just, you know, the envelope.
Well, as far as this code, Steve is the best guy for us to get information from. Do you think you can keep up?
As of now, yes, but believe me, I will let you know. When it comes to the point where I don't feel comfortable, I'm trying to maintain or keep up. Right now, I'm good.
I guess my question to everybody is now, and now's the time to make that hard decision, is do you want it in the budget or not?
I'd say no.
I don't.
If,
Dan?
Steve,
That would be up to Steve. If he thinks he can handle that. You
But
know,
I
the
agree.
population's increasing all the time.
I agree.
But
And
with the understanding, Steve, that if you do start getting overwhelmed, we'll find a way.
Oh, absolutely, I bring it to the mayor and council's attention, so.
it's good. I think it's a good decision, guys. I thank you for listening. So we didn't vote on it the last time. It didn't require one, really doesn't require one now. It just required your opinion. Monday, we can actually vote on the budget that maybe wants to set forth for us. Okay, thank you for that. Corey, public safety.
And my report was late. I didn't get it out till today, so unless you have any questions about it.
Well, the exciting stuff wasn't in there till today. The exciting stuff wasn't in there till today.
So our fundraiser did go over pretty well. We brought in just over 27,000. And after paying our expenses and stuff, we just a little over 15,000 for our department to use for equipment.
Good job. Congratulations. That money gets put toward, so that everybody knows that's not a slush fund. It's not a fund that Corey's department, they're just allowed to go spend on steaks and hamburgers and stuff. They actually have a committee that controls this budget and they vote on it. And by 100% venue, it's spent on equipment and stuff that's needed for the fire department. So thank you very much, Corey.
It's all been,
Great.
all of it up to this point.
Last year was the pump.
Yeah, last year we bought the
For the brush fire.
the high pressure system on the brush truck, and then the year before that was the side by side and the equipment on that for grass fire.
And this year we have,
Got a lot of different things that we're talking about, upgrading all the bunker gear, because that, all the bunker gear the firefighters wear, that's about $2,000 a set.
well, except for the guy that wears size 14s.
Yeah, and the guy that wears size 14 might be a little more expensive. Yeah, so that gear is pretty expensive, and it has a life on it. It's usually good for about 7 years, so it gets pretty expensive to switch that stuff out.
So again, to everybody, including the community that participated and shopped and was part of this, thank you very much. Thank you.
And we ran out of fireworks really quick this year. I was surprised.
did you do better than last year?
Not the same, but I think it's mainly because we spent the same. We didn't, we managed to kind of find that area in there where we don't have fireworks left over that we got to deal with trying to store.
Right.
So
Who's on the committee that decides?
the fire association is everybody on the fire department. That was set up long before me, and there's a fire association, and it is made up of members of the actual fire department. And all the funds that are brought in go into a bank account specifically under the fire association. And then if any money wants to be spent, then we have to have a meeting of everybody, and it's got to be voted on.
They have a secretary.
Nice thing, it doesn't come out of the city's budget or any of the city's coffers for that stuff. So.
Exactly. Also, the good news is we had structural fires over the weekend. We had emergencies and we had 0 first responders hurt. And I don't know that we had anybody hurt in the fire situations, did you, Corey? So with that being said, another kudos out to our emergency response teams to be able to do such a good job. And I mean, look at what we were working with. I've never seen so many people go, I don't know. Snake Days Parade don't have anything over on us, I don't think anymore. So anyway, thank you very much, Corey. Unless you have anything to add. Any questions? Okay. I, at this particular point, need a 5-minute executive session regarding non-elected employee. And I would entertain a motion to go to executive session at 6:22 and return at 6:27.
Motion to move into executive session for personnel legal to return at 6:27.
Need a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We'll return. I have 6:27, meeting adjourned. We went to executive session for 5 minutes regarding non-elected employee. That employee was Mindy Sear. And I would entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to give Mindy city clerk a $3 raise, $21 an hour.
Second.
All in favor? Conversation. All in favor?
Aye.
Pass 4-0. What also would go with this is that in January, we would do a performance evaluation, Mindy, in January, and we will discuss further raise merit and opportunities in January. Acceptable? Very good.
Effective immediately.
Yeah, effective immediately. Thank you. And so that everybody knows, Mindy was currently at 18 an hour, which will take her to 21 an hour. Okay. No questions there. Resolutions and ordinances. We have a resolution in front of you under the economic development on D. Let's see, let's find it, number
It's a
7.
Special Equipment Reserve Fund.
No,
Economic development.
yeah, the economic development. So let's look under 8. Okay, there it is. It's a resolution for an economic development committee. I passed it out to everybody last week. I asked you to review it, consider any changes you would like to consider. Economic development, it's, we did not overcomplicate it. It's just pretty simple. It's a committee that we're going to put together. It'll be committee run. Be no council that sits in the chair or does oversight in the committee. The committee, the council members would supply a list of names to the city, to myself, and we would all review them, and we would all consider them and approve them or reject them together. And what we'll need is a chair, a co-chair. But what would be very there's a tornado behind my house,
That's what I was just.
which means it should be right over here.
Right up there. Just send it to the county. I don't think it's coming this way, it's just hanging on.
It's right there.
Then you tore the.
Yeah,
That's
see
right over
there?
here.
That way.
Can really see it?
Didn't come down. I mean, it's just worse.
We're gonna take a moment. We're gonna look at the tornado. We'll be right back.
I didn't know it was coming down on your
No,
garage.
no, I appreciate that.
Executive session.
Motion for a 5-minute recess.
Whose internet's out? Maybe it's white.
All right. I got everybody I need back in their chairs. Okay. Let's discuss this resolution. It's a conversation that's been had now for over a year with the city, even before Cindy Smith left. This was a conversation that was being had. We had attempted, not an economic development group, but we had attempted a city finance group committee one time that Brenda Muncy was chair of. And you know what? There was a lot to discuss. They had the meetings, and the committee just pretty much got dissolved at that particular time. We had not very little to work with. We had nothing to work with then. So now things have changed a little bit, and it's a new conversation. This resolution number would be what?
133.
133. I would entertain a motion that the council accept resolution number 133 for the Economic Development Advisory Committee for the city.
Is there a budget for this?
That project, actually, that is not a project. That would be for any and all the properties we own. Right now, the properties we own are what's in front of us, and the frontage road is 139 acres, and the little bit of property we have around the water tower. That's what we have. If the Economic Development Committee came to us and said, hey, you're not doing anything with that office over there, what if we could lease it for you? That would be exactly what I would hope we would gain, in positivity out of an economic group. Also to include, to get in businesses, get industry, or maybe not as much industry, but small businesses invited down and see if we have anything to offer them, on the 49 acres of road front we're going to have up there. And again, as we talk about this economic committee, I'm going to stop for just a little bit, and I want Dan to chime in, because Dan has spent a great deal of time in conversations and looking up different things that the applications that go with this committee. Dan, share some stuff with the committee that can help them on this.
Well, the EPA has a program, economic development program. It'll chime in too with some experience also. We'll probably talk to the committee on that. They suggest that you focus on one particular area, an economic development area, which I'm going to address that too after this. So to focus on that area, and the Citizens Committee would more or less talk to the citizens in the community and see what they wanted in the way of services in the commercial area and what they would be interested in. So, that'd be like a liaison between the council and the citizens, and liaison between surrounding cities. They'd ask for experience on that too, get their input on different cities that have economic districts. So, and there's a lot of things you can do with the committee. And if a council person was doing that, it would take a lot of time. We have a lot of talented people in Linn Valley that could help out the city with this and contribute a lot to the community.
The resolution is very simple. The committee is responsible for themselves. They can't make decisions. They can't enter into agreements or contracts. Jamie, you didn't have a problem with this resolution as it was written. So,
Well, that being said, I'll make a motion that we accept resolution number 133 for the establishing of an economic development advisory committee.
I'll second it.
all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Again, as we move that resolution, let's get back on track and let's move to, we don't have any other resolutions or ordinances, do we? Mindy has one. Ordinance 262, Fire Department Reserve Fund. Mindy?
The ordinance 263. This is to set up an account just for that sales tax, keep it out of general fund.
Motion to adopt ordinance
Before, I want to put, there's some explanation that goes with this. We didn't think we were going to need to do this until July when we'd get our first check. However, we had a single business that paid their quarterly tax at the state, and it was I'm just saying, I think it was like $2,600 and some dollars. So we're going to have a fund coming in. We need this ordinance passed so that we can actually move the money to the appropriate funds. So with that being said, I think that a single customer at 1 cent tax, $2,600. I'm looking forward to seeing what the check is going to be, by 1st of August when they send our dividends, our quarterly dividend to us. So, you know what? Again, the community's growing. A lot of things grow at the same time with it. The amount of trucks coming and going in here is growing. So with that, did you have a problem with the ordinance, Jamie?
No.
Okay. That ordinance number,
263.
okay. I will entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to accept ordinance 263, establishing a non-levy public safety equipment reserve fund.
I need a second.
Second.
Conversation. All in favor?
Aye.
I think it's unanimous. Okay. Okay. Let's move down to projects. We're going to start with the water project. I only have a quick update with this, is that Jason sent it down. I sent it out to all of you. It was a hooray. Our plans officially were approved by the USDA. Our project is now, the locomotive is now steaming back up again. They're working on project bids and getting us ready for the next step of our project. Okay, so, you know, with that being said, we also put an update out here recently on the webpage. And that update basically was just explaining to everybody what our timelines are currently based on project progression. Okay, we feel pretty confident that we should have contractors in place by September 1st. And we could come to a city hall or come to a town hall meeting, you know, with our contractors in hand. So that, you know, the hard questions that the community wants to ask, like how long is it going to be now? They can actually ask the contractor who's got the equipment in the ground. So, you know, I think it'll be a very knowledgeable period for us. So any questions regarding water project?
I will throw out there that I did get a call the next day after that last meeting from Ryan.
Brian Kingsley, yeah.
And it went really well, actually.
Good.
He was confused a little and thought that we were all going off the Caldwell schedule, and I told him I'd never even looked at the Caldwell schedule, that my scheduling was based off of conversations with Paul.
Mhm.
So I got everything straightened out.
Very good.
I think we should be on the right road.
Very good. Council, I appreciate everybody who does get involved and takes those kind of calls and has these kind of conversations, because it doesn't have to be limited to a single person. But if you choose not to reach out and have conversations, sometimes you wait a long time for people to call you. So again, he done that because you offered that opportunity for him to do that job. So thank everybody for that one. Okay. I want to go to last thing in the water project is I need a executive session for easement and property acquisition. This would be a 10-minute executive session. We'll go at 6:41 and return at 6:51. Motion, please.
Motion to move to a legal executive session for 10 minutes, returning at 6
Regarding easement and property acquisition.
regarding easements and property acquisition, returning at 6:51.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Adjourn to executive session.
Those are unpaid positions.
Those are unpaid positions, yes, sir, volunteer. Okay. All right, I got 6:51, re-adjourn the meeting, no action taken. Okay. Want to, real quick, council have anything to add regarding the water project? Anything else? Okay, we're done there. Let's move on to sewer project. Dan, I think, has an update from Wes.
Yeah, Wesley from DG was supposed to meet tonight, but he couldn't make it. So we're scheduling him for the July 22nd council meeting. The finished drawing should be submitted by then to KDHE for permitting. So then he'll give, on that meeting, he'll give an update on that.
Okay. Any questions? Any questions? I think what would be valuable, and Brian offered this up, but make sure Wes got the memo that it'll be really nice to get a construction schedule, timeframe schedule for that project once we get it approved.
I
And
think we're still on the schedule we had before.
Right. Yeah, yes, sir.
We're still on schedule.
So, okay. With no questions, let's move on to City Hall project. Okay. We have a little bit of work to do here tonight, guys, and that work consists of City Hall. Okay, or Michael will be able to get in here when he can, I'm sure. We've discussed location. We've discussed cost to some degree. The conversation I want to start first is cost, because this has to do with budget. Monday, she has to put a budget spreadsheet together for us regarding an amount of money that we want to spend on a city hall. Okay, that right now, that budget consists of $1,640 a month. That's what we pay for the lease of this building. I reach out to the people we lease the building from, and our lease expires on November of 25. Okay. And when that expires, they would show interest in a release. They're releasing it to us. That's the business they're in. It probably won't be at the same amount, but my request to them was I would like a year-to-year extended lease possibility. And I would like to look at the possibility of a 2-year extension. I'm only offering this right now, guys, is because I can tell you as this date's creeped up on us and everything, our timelines are really, we thought that we had till April of 26. Okay, well, that would have been 4 years from the date of our lease, but because we have a 28-day payment cycle, at the end of this lease, we lose almost 4 months. Okay, so now we're into November, so it just moves it up 4 months to figure it's 6 months. So we might need to buy a little time to get a city hall done. I mean, we're still here having the conversation of how much do we want to spend for a city hall. Joey came in, gave us some scenarios. Karen has put some scenarios together for us. She showed us to where it is affordable for this council to consider a $500,000 city hall at a affordable cost. She's also showed us how we could afford a more expensive city hall for the sake of trying to project further down the road than just maybe 10, 15 years, but maybe a bigger idea. And we have 2 different ideas on the council of how much we should spend on city halls. So as we have this conversation, I want to go back to Dan. And because Dan has done some work, he's provided some plans to the city. He showed the council some of the ideas that he has and the location that he has for that. Right now, let's leave the location alone and let's discuss the finance part of it. So
I would say we need to accept BG feasibility study. And that way they'll have costs in there and then we can kind of go from there with the costs. Other than that, we're just guessing. We're just guessing on the cost. They'll come up with a preliminary study, how much square footage we need, and they'll come up with a concrete cost. So other than us guessing on that, that's all we would have. I would say we should go ahead and do that contract for the feasibility study anyway, up to that point, and then kind of go from there.
Dan, would that feasibility study include the feasibility of other businesses possibly being there?
I'm not sure if they would do that. I mean, theirs, I believe, is just for the building, the city hall.
And the
That would be-
feasibility is based on cost, or is there actually location that will be discussed in their feasibility also?
We could give them a couple sites, and they could make the determination which was the better site. So,
They said we could give them up to like 3 sites and then they can.
we can give them a couple sites and see what they come up with.
Well, I think if everybody look at the resolution that you passed that had to do with the city hall project, you'll notice that feasibility was the first item and one of the line items that we were going to require this committee to do. So, that's something that although we had a little feasibility with Joey, Joey coming in and telling us how we could afford it, I think the next part of this feasibility is just that conversation. What are the applications? Where can the applications be put? And what's the conversations we want to have after that? So,
This should give us different options too, building options, construction and costs. So
okay.
that would be good.
Okay, well, you and Robert, you guys, I would think that is the next best idea, in this conversation of a new city hall and keep it moving. Again, they called it a PAR. They did not call it a feasibility, but it's the same difference, so, and again, we're only obligating ourselves to that feasibility study for a step 1 here, so where we go from there is your choice. Doesn't necessarily require us to go, oh, okay, they done the PAR, so we're obligated to hire them. That's not the case at all. They just happen to be the only company that offered an option that they would do the PAR.
And we can offer them microns too, if they wanted some ideas. If you wanted to do that, that would be okay too. It might save us a little bit.
I am going to go out on a limb here and ask for a motion to move forward with the first thing I do is, Mindy, do you know where we're going to get the money for this feasibility study? I do. It's in the general
It's
fund.
80,
No, I said how many?
8,500.
Yeah, I'd say it's less than $9,000.
I think Karen, talked to Karen before on this. And she said,
Yeah, general budget.
Yeah, general fund.
We do need to, future would be
That was
put
just
something
for
like that in a
their part,
capital
we had to pay for the
improvement.
circuit.
Well, I need to talk about that next.
Yeah, you need to talk about that also. Let's talk about the feasibility study. Let's go ahead and go out on a limb and entertain a motion to accept the feasibility study for B&G to do the feasibility study not to exceed $10,000.
Oh, we're not signing that contract that they gave us.
Well, they have the second part. They have the
Well,
feasibility.
I'm saying the contract, that's different. that contract, put one person making all the decisions.
Okay. Oh, okay, well, I tell you, let's do this. We're three council here. If everyone agrees, what we'll do is, committee, reach out to B&G, ask B&G to restructure the contract so that it's a general contract between them and city by condition.
Did you have a chance to look at that, Dane? The contract, B&G contract?
For the preliminary architectural,
Yeah, I was just sharing contract a little bit. It literally is boilerplate.
So, but anyway, we have to agree on allowing me to enter into the agreement. So you guys have to agree on what's written in that contract. And I do know, Jamie, one of the issues that was in that contract was there was some personal, that you, from old business, if you're used to doing, you had your name put in there.
I think they did that. I didn't.
No, it's no real big deal other
I'm
than,
not saying there's
Correct.
issues there, I'm just saying,
No, those things, that was just, Lou, you and I discussed that. Those things need to go to.
Okay.
That's pretty standard.
okay.
So the
and it
address,
also said only 3 meetings or whatever.
I think said up to 5, if I
Was it
remember.
up to 5?
right. Yeah.
correct. So it's 3 with the option of 2 more. But the only thing that have to be changed is.
Let's do this. Let's ask them to submit. Let's ask them to resubmit under the conditions of business with the city. And again, because I know we sat here and had that conversation with them and we were making changes as we were going. So I do know they obligated themselves to a few more meetings that was not in that contract. So let's go ahead and reach out to them and do that. And Mindy, let's put this on the
22nd,
July 2nd,
22nd.
no, 22nd. No, not the 22nd, 22nd. Yeah, put it on July 22nd's meeting.
See, Lou, I thought that was already discussed. That could be wrong.
I don't know that I've seen it changed in writing.
That's, because my recollection, we saw that, we asked that to be changed, but it comes this, she oversees the budget, well, at the time it was Karen. And that's who makes the payments and who receives the invoices, and 2, all things go through council. So I thought that was already done, but.
No, we
Let's-
never voted.
Let's be
I never
accurate
saw
about
we-
this.
We don't have the contract to do that. That's what.
Okay,
We may have already asked for it, but I've never seen it updated.
the committee get an updated contracts, get it to Mindy for, to put in the next meeting on the 22nd. Okay. Second part of this conversation, Dan, go. Zoning.
Talked to Wesley before he came up here. I was asking for an email, but give me a phone call. I'd asked him about a replat of that land showing the 400-foot strip to be rezoned as commercial. And he said since they had already had a survey on the lot, they would charge $1,000 to change that for the rezoning requirements. And that would probably be the only fee the city accrues for the rezoning part.
Thank you.
That sounds reasonable. It sound too
That's more
affordable,
than reasonable.
you know, again, as we,
More than that, just to get a engineer, put a stamp on that.
Well, they've already flagged it for the sewer project, so most of the information is there. That they'll replat showing the 400-foot strip, and then that way we take it to the zoning commission.
and again, as we go through this conversation doesn't necessarily apply to a city hall. It applies to an economic development opportunity.
Yes.
So is everyone in favor of maybe that becoming an opportunity for us? I mean, I know everybody has a different opinion, but it's an opportunity. That's the deal.
There are some things I think that would work up there. One I think that would be excellent would be covered storage. Every time one of these covered storage areas, they empty one out, there's somebody sitting there waiting to pull in and fill it. So if we could find somebody that we could lease some of the land to that wanted to put some covered storage up there, I think that would be a great anchor point for future development of
I think
things.
that's
So,
where the economic committee
Right.
would come in, you know, they'd give some more different options. and
Yeah.
Bring them to the council.
But do we want to have them explore those things before we I mean, I don't see a point in not replatting it, but rezoning it. Do we want to make sure that,
I think it needs to be rezoned.
Yeah, I think we need to rezone it no matter what. Even if it's for, let's say that none of this material is in the future. We might as well have it set up for them so it doesn't become an issue.
Right now, it's zoned light industrial, right? So you don't want, coming into your community, you don't want warehouses and
Right.
things like that. Industrial section is offset from the main street that, your city. It's more like for services, and, like gas station.
Anybody can live over there?
car wash? Big old boat wash.
People have been discussing that. I don't want-
I like the storage. Storage is big.
Michael coming back in?
He
He
said he
said
had
he
to
needed to call
discuss
his
something with his wife. I think she's probably a little nervous about what.
Well, guys, worst case scenario, we have to call Mike in, but because I do think that we are ready to make this choice, I would ask the council to entertain a motion to go ahead and allow the city hall committee to move forward with the rezoning.
Replatting.
Well, it'll include the plat, but it requires the rezone and plat.
We have to do the
That frontage.
replat though at $1,000 before we can even send it over for rezoning.
So exactly, but
So
We
this-
have to.
Step one is replat.
I can fill out the application and all that stuff. If the council wants to review that before I send it over there with the information.
and he says it's about $1,000, so you would need to put a not to exceed on there. But I'd say not around $1,200. Probably definitely won't need 1,500. But I don't know, are these three councilmen, are you prepared? to-
John needs to make the motion with us both being on that committee, right?
Huh?
Shouldn't John be the one making?
No. You guys, whether you're committee members or not, you have the authority to make a motion and vote the way you choose to on whatever committee you set. Those, your choices and decisions and does not change because you sit on a committee.
We just need a motion for.
To move forward.
The plat to not to exceed
Replat.
1,000.
Replat.
I just,
Okay, entertain a motion.
Motion to replat the 139 acres for 400-foot strip along Mueller Road for commercial district.
In the amount of not to exceed.
Not to exceed 1,200.
Second,
second,
any conversation? Okay, all in favor?
aye.
Hey,
Okay, I have a 3-0, that'd be unanimous.
do we need a motion for the VG to do the,
The feasibility,
feasibility?
I think I'd
I
like to see
just
the contract before.
he just left, but I believe that contract was submitted to us, and they stood in front of us and had a conversation. They even added a few meetings to
Yeah.
the contract, and I don't know that I have seen that in writ yet, that contract has changed.
Yeah.
So you get that contract being changed, we'll have it ready the 22nd if B&G can be ready, and the council can move forward with the approval at the end of the month's meeting to get that moving. And that means by July 1st, we should have some moving parts.
August.
We should have some moving parts to this economic development committee.
You want me to get a hold of them and tell them about the contract and if they could do it at the same time?
Please do, the committee needs to do that, yes. Okay. So, all right, with that, let's move to. All right, Jamie's back. Anything else economic development? Being the council has approved that, what I would like the council to, what happens at this next point so the council should be aware of how we assign our committees here. If you pass, submit the names to me before August 12th, if that's fair, 2024 for selection. And that selection will be from all of us, okay? And then based on that, each person, if anybody wants to bring any information based on their personal experiences to the table, they're welcome to. But we have to be careful. I don't know that I want to mandate,
Resumes or anything?
resumes and stuff like
I think we
that.
should know their experience.
Well, I think that we're gonna ask for that. We're gonna ask for that, and as the council brings them to the committee, we'll see those, experience levels, and with a little bit of luck, you know what, the most experienced person will be our committee chair. And then I'll be really honest with you, that's my opinion, because this is 100% volunteer resident type of a committee. I think that the chair and the chair should nominate his own co-chair, and they should nominate their own committee. Because again, successful people want to put successful people around them, you know, so let's allow those people to show success. You know, so that's the next thing would be to bring some people that would be eligible or willing to do this for the city. Jamie, you want to chime in on this economic development committee? I think we were okay with
No, I think it's
resolution.
it's a good step to figure out what you guys want to do, how you want to do it, where you want to do it. I think it's important. Yeah. It's never too early to talk about development. It's just not. So I think it's a good thing.
I think it's important to get the community involved too.
Yeah.
And give them the feeling that they're involved in this, in their future.
Okay. All right, number 9 on the agenda, security and cell phones. At this particular point in time, I think everybody has seen a great deal going on in our own county and throughout the state, to where electronic devices and stuff has become a popular conversation. I entertain a motion. I need a 10-minute executive session regarding city security. James Brown only, conversation, and it's legal for 10 minutes. We would go to executive session at 9:15 and we return at 9:25.
7:15.
I'm not staying here for 2 more hours.
Let's get it done then.
That's a long meeting.
Oh,
Motion to move to a legal
7:15.
executive session regarding security from 7:15 to 7:25.
second,
I'll second.
favor,
Aye.
Aye.
adjourn to executive session. Meeting, please. Bring the meeting back to order. No action taken. Okay. Conversation real quick regarding security. The council would like to understand our cost of a phone program for the entire city. And Robert, with Robert's help, let's also provide what the cost to provide IT devices, laptops to the council. You know, this has a lot to do with CORE and COMA, Kansas Open Records Act. Okay, the bottom line is that I learned of the old school book to where they show a big set of hands ripping the roof off of City Hall, so the entire world can look in and see what we're doing. It's called the Open Air Act. So we have no secrets here. Everything that happens in this city is of record, and people can ask for that record. Well, what goes on with phones is we don't do it on purpose, but let's say John's traveling for 2 days. He's liable to get a phone call from me or from another council person that immediately puts him on business on a cell phone. Well, that could be construed as business. Okay, so I guess if something went real bad with the city and that somebody was going to demand COMA and CORE records, our personal devices could be at risk. So I think that the council, will make these decisions and budget, but it is the recommendation of our council that, we pursue getting off of our personal devices. And I have a computer that I use nothing for but city business, and maybe other people do too. But in some cases, we do not. Some cases, we just use our own computer and we check emails and we travel with our laptops, for those of you that are good at it. I don't, but some people may. So that's the conversation at hand, Mindy. So, what the little tasking that needs to go with this, and that's going to be, and I know it's short notice for you because, this could also be something we need to put in the budget. Okay, so Robert, you'll work with the phone. Robert says he'd work with the computer side of that. Any conversation? Okay. Jamie, anything you want to add to that?
No, I mean, I think it still boils down to what does CORE require? And I think it would require, I say turn your phone over, but you have to print off all the information that would be city business. That's just a pain versus just having the phone strictly for that purpose. Then it's not an issue. So, and that rolls the same issue with the computers. The question would be is do you guys, who needs a computer? Because if, the council members are just doing it off their phone, they can check the Dropbox and do all that unless they're planning on working on documents and things like that. So that would be the question. But I do think it's important to have it separated out. That way there's not an issue of having to pull things off your personal phone. And I think it's very important to keep it separate.
Okay. Jamie, thank you very much. Okay, nothing more about that. Move to old business. At this particular time, I wish I had an entire council here to do this, but I'm not one to put things off. I'm going to ask this council tonight to accept Cindy Smith's resignation from, what was it, last October? Last November. And with that, I want to start with thanking Cindy Smith for the years of hard work that she put in with the city and the service she provided us. We were in some of the most difficult growing periods of this community. We had projects going. Hard decisions were being made, and Cindy Smith provided us the leadership that we needed to get where we are today. I can't thank Cindy enough. She's owed the thank you, and she's owed the respect that I hope she does well in what she chooses to do. You know what? And thank you very much, Cindy Smith. With that, I entertain a motion to accept her resignation with respectfulness.
I move to accept Cindy Smith's resignation in last October, November.
Second,
I'll second it.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Unanimous. Sometimes we're late with thank yous and the appreciation of the things that people do for us. People come and go, and we don't take that opportunity and we don't take that chance. And you know what? I of all people, owe her a thank you, a great deal of respect, and that, you know what? I wish her well.
We are here today because it was with the people that worked on it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Any other old business? We're not quite ready with the roof bid yet from Steve. We're still trying to get we need to get a contractor confirmed that we've got rotted wood in there and that what's it gonna cost us when we get in there and we know that it's rotten. So Steve's still working to kind of sharpen up the contract a little bit so that we get it done right. Okay. No old business, so I'll move to new business. Okay. Do we have any new business? Dan?
I don't have anything, so.
John?
Nope.
And I don't particularly have any new business. I want to leave the council with a thought with new business is that not only do we have something we can work off economic development, but let's not lose sight of what some of our opportunities might be for future economic development. I'd like to share some things with you. I spoke to Henry Ferguson, which is part of the group that's next door over here. And he's agreed to go talk to the owners of the property regarding the city's opportunity to maybe acquire property across from the city someday. We don't have an answer to that. We have no idea. He asked a few questions to go to them with, like, well, how much would we consider, how much would we want in acreage? And I really don't know. I don't want to be greedy with that conversation. But I think that the future is that someday we can have that conversation and there may be a possibility of future economics there also. Another opportunity of economic, and maybe not a great deal, but I don't want to lose hand on it, is we have property that is south of the fire building. That's not very much, but it goes to that corner and it goes up behind the gated area for the RVs.
Storage area.
It would be nice to own as much of this as we could. And it'd be nice to maybe offer to make a POA an offer for that land right there. My thought on it is try to estimate how much property it is and maybe offer them, I don't know, maybe we could start 10 grand, something like that, see what the POA thinks about it. And don't mean to insult anybody, but I'm sure everybody wants to start with a number. But those are possibilities, and I don't know what the council thinks about that, but I would like to possibly, with the council's approval, send the POA a proposal to buy that corner.
I had some preliminary discussions and basically that's what I was told. Send us a proposal, we'll look at it. And hopefully if it's too low, they'd make a counter offer. If it's where they want to be, they'll say yes or no.
Are you talking about that storage area they have now? Or-
Well, it's from the road to the storage.
Yeah, from Yielding to the storage.
Their easement is pretty much where you see mowed around that fence. There's some property that's behind it. There's some property that goes to the corner, and there's some property that goes all the way up to actually further than where we mow. I think some of that we mow up there might actually be
Yeah.
a little bit on their property. It's just available property, and if we wanted to expand the fire station someday, it'd be nice to keep that property in the city's hands. So I do have a request, and that request would be to allow me to approach the POA in written form through Mindy and offer them not to exceed but 10 grand for that corner.
How many acres is that?
I believe it's about 1.5 acres there. I could be off a little bit, but what gets set back behind that fence a little bit, I think are more than 1 acre there. And again, I don't know at this point in time, they may want more easement than we sees mowed. I mean, we have to ask that question. You know, but if you stop to think about the last purchase we made for acreage, that's not too unreasonable. I actually need a motion to do that.
You need a motion to do that?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Agreed?
To contact the POA and
Just
make an offer.
Make an offer for 10 grand.
With the stipulation that it has to be for a Build-A-Bear?
No,
No,
John.
no stipulation.
No, John.
I motion that we let the mayor put an offer to the POA for up to $10,000.
Is that the max?
Not to exceed.
For how many acres?
It's for, and again, I can't define it in numbers.
For the
I believe
property,
it's- yes.
corner property
It's
on
for the corner
Yorey
property.
and 2400.
I think we'd have to know the boundaries and all that,
Again, I don't see them accepting right away. I'm sure that they're gonna have conditions because they have a storage system right in the middle of it. So I'm sure they're gonna have some conditions to go with that too, so. But it's mostly to start the conversation, but as we start the conversation, they may say,
Yeah, let's go.
what are you thinking about, Lou? How much you willing to offer us? And I will not purchase. This is a mere offer, and I will come back to the council and ask the council to move forward with the obligation to purchase. I want to start the conversation, and I want to have a number in hand to start it with. So,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, approved. I have nothing else. It's been a busy night. Everybody's worked extremely hard. Guys, I cannot tell you enough how important it's going to be for everybody to get settled in here, that we can give Mindy an answer on Monday to how much we want to go to the county with for a city hall. Do what? Again, just because you know something doesn't mean you should always say it. Any other questions? Audience, any questions? Anything I failed to include anybody in?
Participation.
George, how about you? With that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, motion, we're adjourned. Thank you, everybody.